Hello and welcome back to JW's Dugout. John here. Hope you guys are having a great Tuesday. It's been a crazy week already for me, and we're only halfway through it. My wife actually just left on a work trip earlier this evening, so the kids, all three of them, are under my watch and playing a little bit of zone defense. Probably why you hear some of the monitors in the back. Just put them to bed. But definitely say a little prayer for me. I need all the help I can get. And to make matters worse, my boss is on vacation, so workload has just been extra heavy this week. So it's been hard to jump on camera and put a video together, but happy to do so. I had a great weekend. For those of you who care, the Bills are 2-0 after a tremendous beatdown of the New York Jets on Sunday, which was fantastic. We had a great weekend. We were prepping for my daughter's 5th birthday, which is coming up this Saturday. Really incredibly hard to believe that she's already 5 years old. It feels like we just brought her home from the hospital. I know it's so cliche to hear parents say that, but man, does it go quick. I remember before I was a parent, I would hear, my friends who were parents say, "Oh, it's so quick, it's so quick," and it sounded so cliche, but it's the truth. So yeah, really prepping for a fun time coming up this weekend. And then on top of everything else, I got to go to a card show on Saturday, which was excellent. The Culture Collision trade show in Atlanta. I know I kind of prepped it and previewed it last week in some of my videos. It ran Friday through Sunday, and I was able to stop in for a couple of hours kind of in the early to mid-afternoon on Saturday. And I'll be honest with you, the turnout was not exactly what I was expecting. I had been to this show in previous years, but this go around, there were definitely a couple hundred tables. It was advertised as 350 plus. I don't think there was anywhere near 350 tables. The couple hundred tables that were there, I would say maybe a dozen of those or so were dedicated strictly to vintage cards, which is a little disappointing. One table in particular actually had possibly the greatest selection of pre-war baseball cards and non-sports cards from like the late 1800s, early 1900s that I've seen at any of, these larger scale shows here in Atlanta or even like the local shows. I would say the rest was really flooded with modern wax, parallels, kabooms. Of course, everybody's talking about those, but then also enough refractors to really kind of burn your retinas. Stuff that I wasn't interested in. But you know what? I am gonna keep positive and remain positive because it was just really fun to still get out, and I was very grateful. Of course, my wife watched the kids for a couple hours. We kind of plan this. We have to do this anytime we do anything out of the ordinary. We have to plan in advance to make sure that there's coverage, just given the stage that we are in life. So I was very grateful to get out for a bit. I know I won't feel as guilty going to these shows when the kids are of age. And that's something I really kind of struggle and battle with anytime that I do step out for even these monthly shows for an hour or so. It's a struggle, to leave the kids and not take them along. But I know that they're kind of at that age. It's going to be so much fun, and I can't wait till I actually get to take them to the show. My daughter, obviously, like I mentioned, she's turning 5. 5-6 years old, was right around the time that I went to my first card show. And I'm just really excited to be able to introduce the hobby to them. I'm not going to push it on them. My son's already, who is, 3 years old, he's already very interested he's almost 3 years old, already very interested in baseball. My daughter is very interested in baseball as well. I'm sure there's going to be some sort of pull to want to collect something, whether it ends up being Pokemon or hopefully it ends up being baseball cards. But just to have that shared experience with them and take them to the shows, I'm really excited for. But back to the show. Okay, so the show was technically in Duluth, which is a suburb of Atlanta. I think the problem was it was the same weekend as another show called Collecticon, which was actually directly in downtown Atlanta, right by like the Coca-Cola, and also right by the Georgia Aquarium, a place called the Georgia World Congress Center, which is one of the biggest convention centers, I think, in the country, I believe. So no surprise that, the high profile card influencers who are typically at the Culture Collision show, they were kind of nowhere to be found. Table volume was down, vintage was down, and honestly, I feel like the energy was a little flat at the show too, and it could be because of competing shows. It could be because of the time that I was there, smack dab in the middle of a Saturday. They're all football obsessed down here. Georgia was playing Tennessee at the time. I caught the tail end of that game. That was a fantastic game, by the way. Um, but I still had a great time, and hey, I didn't walk away empty handed. So there's still some stuff to show off, which is why we're here for this video. I ended up snagging 13 individual items, some for my collection, some for an upcoming subscriber giveaway that I teased last week that I'm going to have a video coming out this week that's going to explain all the details. And then even a couple gifts for some of my strongest supporters of this channel. They don't know it's coming, but it's coming. More to come on that. All right, before I swing the camera around though, I'm gonna cut away just for a second really quick to show some of the show footage. Nothing too in depth. I am not exactly a big fan of going around and recording every detail, especially with limited time. I like to just kind of get in, get out. But at least this way you guys get a feel of what the show was like over this past weekend. So hang tight, we'll look at that footage, swing back around and go over the pickups.
Just to kind of look at where I'm at for the day, decide if you know.
All right, guys. So really my main focus at the Culture Collision trade show was filling in some of the gaps in my Hank Aaron run. Also picking up some items for the giveaway and really whatever else caught my eye. So I'll try to talk a little bit about my thought process and how much I paid for each item, and then we'll get out of here. We'll make it a little bit of a shorter video. At least we try to. We always say that, and then I end up running my mouth. So the first thing I found is not an actual baseball card, but it was something that I've been on the lookout for such a long time. And surprisingly, randomly, one of the dealers who was selling memorabilia had this on his table, and it was sealed, and it was something that I've been looking for a long time. And that's the complete collection of When It Was a Game on Blu-ray. And I cannot begin to tell you how long I've been waiting to pick this up. There's some on eBay, but I've actually never seen this for sale anywhere in person. So if you guys are not familiar with it, this was an HBO 3-part series that aired a couple decades ago, at least. And it just has some absolutely amazing footage of everybody from the likes of Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, Ty Cobb, DiMaggio, Hank Aaron, Sandy Koufax. The list kind of goes on, and really just kind of captures what it was like during that period. Original footage, interviews. Yeah, it's great. It's great. So, I mentioned earlier in this video, my wife is on a work trip, so I might have to pop this in the Blu-ray player at some point over the course of the next couple days, as I'm trying to drift off to sleep. Really excited to rewatch this because it's been a very long time. All right, anyways, let's get to the cards. First thing I found, and I'm not going to tell you guys which of these pickups are part of the giveaway because we'll save that for one of the next 2 videos that are coming out, which again will give all the details of my subscriber giveaway. I know I mentioned I recently surpassed 100 subscribers, which again is small fries to some. It's important to me, so I'm really, really happy about that. I picked up this Luis Aparicio autograph. And this is from 2000 Fleer Greats of the Game. A wonderful set. on card auto. And I think this one might be getting a special home, and I'll provide some more details on that a little bit later. All right. Let's start off with some raw cards. And I know I mainly show off slabbed cards on my channel, but yes, I do buy some raw cards every now and again as far as vintage goes. So let's run through a couple that I did pick up. This card's been on my list for a little while now. The 1953 Topps Monty Irvin. I think that this is just an absolutely beautiful looking card from one of Topps' most iconic sets. I feel like Monty doesn't always get the spotlight he deserves, but really he was a pioneer. He was one of the early black stars in MLB and a Hall of Famer who helped pave the way for others. And you couple that with the artwork of 53, and chef's kiss. It's unbelievable. Great card. I did not pay $50 for it. I actually coupled it in with one of my Hank Aaron pickups, which I'll show in a little bit. And I think with the discount, I think I ended up getting this card for about $20, which is great. I'll probably end up sending this into SGC at some point. It's funny, the Warren Spahn and the SGC3 I picked up a couple weeks ago, maybe even a month ago now, has wear in the same exact spot on the bottom left corner. But overall, this is a great looking card. I'm not a grading expert, but I think it probably merits a SGC2, maybe? I don't know. Somebody who's far smarter than me can give me the details on it, but really happy to pick that one up. I also picked up a couple of 1958 Topps All-Stars, and that is Eddie Matthews and Warren Spahn. And surprisingly, these were two that I didn't have. Wanted these for my run of both players, and I really, really like these designs. Obviously, this is commemorating their 58 All-Star selection. The Matthews is not in the greatest shape, but I coupled a couple of these cards together, and I think I paid less than $10 for each one. I do like the Spawn. I think the Spawn might be worthy of an SGC slab. I don't know about this though. There's obviously some issues right in the heart of the card. So, but still really happy to pick these up. And I always say it about Raw. They've been loved. They've been places. They have stories to tell, which is what baseball cards are all about. All right. This next one is one that I didn't go to the show planning to get, and that's the 1957 Topps Ted Kluszewski. Obviously, this is a iconic card. I wouldn't say the most iconic card, but it's definitely an iconic card. It's part of the 300 great baseball cards of the 20th century, Mike Payne set. And it just so happens I have the book right here. I figured I'd pull it out real quick and we could take a look and read this together. So the 1957 Topps Ted Kluszewski. What was a collector to do in 1957? There was Ted Kazansky and there was Ted Kluszewski. It could get downright confusing. Ted Kazansky was the light-hitting second baseman for the Philadelphia Phillies, who had slugged 11 career home runs entering the 57 season. Ted Kluszewski was the slugging first baseman for the Cincinnati Reds, who led the NL in home runs in 1954 and who had slugged 40 or more homers in 3 of the previous 4 seasons. Ted Kazansky's uniforms included sleeves, but Ted Kluszewski's uniform was sleeveless in order to accommodate his growing biceps. So you can understand how a collector could have mixed up the two in 57, right? Gotta love that write-up. But I will give a little bit of insight. I thought that why not, during the giveaway, add this to one of the lots. So I'll share a little bit of the secret of the giveaway. I'm gonna have 2 separate packages that I put together that are gonna have a variety of cards in it, and there'll be 2 winners for the so-called contest. But I thought this would be a great card to include. I always get a kick out of it. Again, it's part of the 300 great baseball cards of the 20th century. It's a good looking, unique card. Obviously, it's not very well centered, but I will say it's in pretty good condition as far as corners go, and the back looks really good too. I picked this one up for I think $7 or $8. This isn't the big prize of the giveaway. I will definitely say that, but I do think that this is just a nice card to include in our giveaway. All right, let's continue. So the rest are going to be graded slabbed cards, and I saw this one, picked this one up on a whim. The 1971 Topps Johnny Bench. I'm kind of working on his run. I've got several Johnny Bench cards, and this one is one that is always kind of, you're kind of leery to pick up because that classic black border chips if you breathe too hard. I just, it's very hard to get, obviously, these cards in great condition, but, this was a time period, 71. Bench was already cementing his status as one of the greatest catchers of all time. So I think this is a solid pickup, even in a mid-grade slab. And a great image of Johnny. Pretty clean back. There's a couple marks up here, but good looking card. Definitely like that one. So we'll put that there. Another one that kind of got in a discount because I put a lot together, if you will, is the 1962 Topps Orlando Cepeda All-Star. Of course, the Baby Bull. Cepeda was a key part of those powerhouse Giants teams, Rookie of the Year in 58, later on MVP. And especially with these cards, the 62 wood grain design is notorious for showing wear, but it's also one of the most recognizable vintage looks, I think, I would say. But I saw this one and I'm like, why not? I think I picked this up for $15. Anytime you can pick up a Hall of Famer slabbed, even in a fairly low grade, I'm all for it. It's a nice one there. Really excited about this one. And this is one of my very few old SGC label slabs. I have, for whatever reason, since I started adding SGC slabs to my collection, have avoided, not by choice, I've avoided the older slab labels. But this one I couldn't pass up. I think this is a beautiful card, a beautiful version of the 1959 Topps Minnie Miñoso in a SGC 6. Of course, again, it's the old label. I'm curious, guys, comment in the section. Does this bother you? I mean, from what I understand, the slab itself is a little bit thicker, but this doesn't bother me. And the more that I hold it in my hand, I have no issues with it. I will probably end up purchasing another card with the older slab, the older label. I don't think it really makes a difference, but you tell me. But anyways, this card, the Cuban Comet was more than a great player. Really, he was a trailblazer for all Latino players in Major League Baseball. And this is a really clean mid-grade example. Beautiful back. Really happy to pick that one up. Okay, we're getting down toward the end here. I promised that the video wasn't going to run long, but all right. So this one here, let's see. We have the 1969 Topps Hank Aaron in a SGC 4.5. So this is one of the, I would say, the bigger pickups of the show. And you knew there was going to be some Hank Aaron's in the stack. And 69 was his 15th season, smack in the middle of his run toward becoming the home run king. It's really a classic portrait shot. I have this card raw. I wanted to get it slabbed for continuity's sake. This was a very fair price by a local dealer who's set up there, a guy from, what town is he from? It's about 40 miles away from downtown Atlanta, north of Atlanta. I'm blanking on the name of the town, but he always easy to work with, and he gave me a good deal on it. You got to also keep in mind, any of these Braves cards being in Atlanta, they tend to run for a premium at these shows. So to get a good deal on this was very much appreciated. So we'll put Hank Aaron there. All right. I'm actually going to show, I'll save the last Hank Aaron for last. These next two I packaged together, and that is the 1968 Topps Hank Aaron All-Star card in a very low grade, PSA 2.5. It's another Aaron. Again, this one from the 68 All-Star subset. And like I said, I'm focused on filling the gaps in the Aaron run, and this one checks another box. Again, I'm not just going for the base cards. I'm going for league leaders. I'm going for all-stars, any sort of special card that goes through his playing days. So it's an ongoing pursuit. I'll probably end up upgrading this one in the future. This one says 40. I did not pay 40 for it. I coupled it with another card, and I will show that card right now, and that's the 1958 Topps Ted Williams in an SGC1. And I know you're SGC1. I didn't have this card. I've always wanted this card. I love the Sport Magazine 58 All-Stars. Obviously, I picked up the Spawn and the Matthews. I've got a number of other 58 All-Star cards in my collection, and really just happy to have added this one of Teddy Ballgame. And, you know, it's a low grade, but I think with Williams, the card is the card. With this, you know, I don't know. It looks to be like there's some creasing. You can kind of see as the light hits it here. But visually, the card looks nice for what it is. And so he had this one listed for 70, I think. It was definitely too high. He had this for 40. I ended up paying, I think 55 for this. So I got this for a pretty good price, and then I got him to knock down a little bit on this. I paid 30, which was an overpay. I know that for sure, but to couple both cards to get the discount, I was willing to do it. I think you can probably get this card realistically for anywhere from like 20 to 30 bucks, especially in this grade, like if you were to go on eBay. But happy to pick up these two. And then the other big pickup along with the 69 Topps Aaron at the show was the 1959 Topps. Oh, hang on one second. Sorry. I had a text message coming through on my phone. One more time. The 1959 Topps Hank Aaron All-Star in the SGC4 with some nice price tag residue right here. This card shows Aaron in his prime during an era when he was already, you know, feared at the plate, probably the most feared hitter in Major League Baseball at the time. And I love the fact that I went to the show and was able to pick up the trio of Spawn, Matthews, and Aaron, and didn't have this one in my collection. It's not incredibly, you know, it's in great shape as far as corners go. It's not centered, but this is still a great image. I think the red in the back is very vibrant. I think the registration's pretty good on it. And then you've got the classic back, the bazooka, the Chew of Champions. Hank's on his way to becoming one of baseball's greatest right-hand hitting outfielders. And another Hank to check off the list. So really happy with these pickups. Again, sorry about the text message interruption there. But that's it for the hauls. You know, again, some for me, some for you guys when it comes to the subscriber giveaway, which I will talk about probably 2 videos from now, but definitely this week. And then some that I'll also be handing out as gifts to a select few who really helped me on this journey of building out this YouTube channel. All right, so this week I have also got episode number 7 of the More Than It Seems short form podcast. That'll be dropping more than likely on Thursday. I've got a video of my Fred McGriff PC. I'm shooting for either Friday or Saturday on that, if I can get to it. If not, it might wait until next week, but I really, really hope to get to it this week because I keep promising it. And then I'm going to have my response to Mike, Baseball Collector's question about the top 10 vintage cards I want before I die. I'm gonna probably push that out tomorrow at some point, probably after work. But spoiler alert, I'll probably never stop adding to that list. So and then again, we'll also announce the subscriber giveaway details, like I mentioned. So stay tuned for that. probably in the next day or two. But that's all for today. I thank you guys as always for watching and stopping by the Dugout. Give the video a like, drop a comment, and let me know what you think. We will catch you guys next time. Have a good night.